It's one thing to shift from negative thinking to positive thinking, but there's another thing to sustain the positive thinking when you're in the moment of it. Because reframing and changing how you view a current situation and changing the viewpoint, right? Your perspective, where you once saw things from a negative perspective because of who you thought you were, right? By basically identifying with the past, identifying with trauma, identifying with, what other people are telling you the world is today, right? By allowing them to dictate to you what your reality is. And so when you transform how to actually view not only the world, but each and every situation from a different point of view, understanding that though we can communicate with one another and say, this is good and this is bad, from an understanding the fundamental truth that it is all good, because as long as we can change the perspective and how we perceive something, then we can change from thinking of it from a negative point of view to a positive point of view, and thus turning negative thinking into actual opportunities. So, with sustaining this positive mindset, it takes a few simple things, but things that you have to be absolutely persistent with and consistent with. And, if you follow me, you understand that the secret to consistency is actually making sure that it's sustainable, that what you're doing is not taking too much away from you, is not taking too much time, too much energy, especially in the beginning. Because if it takes too much time and too much energy, then chances are you're going to hit a point where you either burn out, you get tired, or something happens, throws you off your track, throws you off your rhythm, and then you just have to take a break, right? But if it is something that is really small, almost seems insignificant, but you're still taking action, then over the course of time, it will accumulate into big action, right? Because you will increase the amount, the intensity, the speed of which you started from. So making sure you continue to sustain a positive mindset means that you take these next steps that I'm going to share with you and you make sure that they are sustainable to you and your lifestyle to guarantee that you continue to do them moving forward. So the first thing is making sure that you just simply take an inventory of your day and you make sure that you can practice, right? Creating daily spiritual routines, thinking about your day and thinking about where the moments, right, throughout your day where you can take some time to just think about what it is that you're doing, your intentions for the day, your intentions for your life, your intentions for yourself, and really hone into making sure that whatever you have to do next is backed with that intention, right? So making sure, okay, now that you've trained yourself to turn negative thinking into opportunities, that's positive thinking, now you have to spend your day and have a moment where you check in with yourself, you do your body scans, you check in how you're feeling in your body, and you're connecting with that feeling and you're going into inquiry as to what that feeling is about in your body, where you have tension, why you have the tension, where does that stem from, and thus coming up with a solution or a way of reframing, right, where that tension comes from. And thus you are now at a point where you can identify, okay, this is the affirmation that aligns with what it is that I want. And what it is that I desire is more important than me holding on to this tension. So you have to take moments throughout the day where, you go, maybe as soon as you go and sit in your car, you are checking in with yourself, right? You are looking at what you're feeling, how you're feeling it, where it's coming from. Then you are turning that into an opportunity, meaning you're looking at the positive angle, the positive point of view of that, how that is actually an opportunity. You're stating your affirmation, right? Or you're just simply affirming in your mind that you are meant for divine, positivity, right? So you have to really claim it for yourself and take opportunities throughout your day to do so. And an important thing to do is making sure that you surround yourself with positivity. Okay. The seed does not grow in the desert. So when we're talking about planting and growing this seed of a positive mindset, positive thinking, you have to recognize that you have to cultivate an environment that will nourish that, right? That would allow that seed to grow into an amazing forest. So you have to recognize that, okay, in order for you to continue to cultivate this positive mindset, which is going to fuel positive outcomes, positive results, you moving forward, you pushing through with the resilience and the strength of understanding the ultimate truth that all is good and that you are the creator of your universe. Therefore, you are creating the universe that you desire. When you start to understand that, then you have to understand taking full responsibility over the environment, making sure that the environment aligns with that state of being. So now you have to look at your environment. How can you create and cultivate an environment to the best of your ability in the current moment in support of this positive way of thinking? Now, okay, you cannot get up and move right away, right? You cannot change the people you're around in a single day, right? Maybe you can. And if you can, and it doesn't harm you or harm the people you directly love or engage with, then I would say do it if you can. But if you cannot, that is okay as well, because there are spaces where you can cultivate and create an environment that supports whatever it is that you're desiring and how you are going to create it. So, for example, if you have a bedroom, make sure your bedroom is clean. Make sure your bedroom has a nice flow of energy, that everything makes sense, that there are positive affirmations, whether it be images, whether it be words, right? Whether it be things that make you feel good. Make sure the lighting is right. Make sure you have a nice space for you to be who you are, to be your most authentic, true self. Make sure that that space is going to cultivate an environment, cultivate the energy, right? The frequency that will support your current desired frequency. Okay. So that way you have something to feed upon, right? Make sure when you get up out of bed in the morning that you make your bed. Make your bed. So that way when you come home, and you go into your room, you have a sense of peace because your room is nice and clean, right? It's nice and cozy, it's nice and comfortable. If you have a workstation, make sure your workstation is a space where you have creative flow of energy, right? You have the things that you enjoy, things that visualize as well. Make sure your workstation is neat and minimal, right? Has minimal things, right? Because it's about flow of energy. So you want to make sure that everything that you are putting yourself in, every environment, every situation you're putting yourself in, that you're doing all that you can to create an environment that supports what you desire. So if you work in an office, make sure you are mindful about your office space, where you're sitting, right? What is there? What is reminding you and continuing to support you on this journey of spiritual and positivity and thinking in terms of being in alignment with with what you desire, right? If you are driving in your car, make sure your car matches that. So everything that you have, make sure that you set it up to be in alignment with what you desire, whether it's just simple reminders, little notes, right? If you're driving, making sure you're even listening, watching, and, hearing things that are in support, in alignment with that which you desire, or even just simply the mindset of positivity. Even if you are taking public transportation, you're taking the bus, make sure you're listening to something inspiring, supportive. So when you transfer and then you get into understanding how to shift from the negative thinking to positive thinking, in order to sustain that, you have to maintain it in a way that is practical and sustainable. So even with your friends, even with your acquaintances, the people you associate with at work, be mindful about those exchanges. Now, I'm not saying you are supposed to immediately cut off all ties with all people who don't align with what it is that you desire. but you must be mindful about that exchange. You must be responsible for what it is you share with them and what you allow them to share with you. Because if there are somebody who themselves are negative thinkers, you have to resist the the habit that you may have once had that allows you to just simply entertain their negative thinking, and you have to just simply either tell them that that's not where you're at right now, you don't want to hear that, or figure out a way, an excuse to just simply walk away, right? And figure out how to associate with people who are from the mindset of positivity and thinks in terms of what it is that they are creating, what they're doing. They're passionate about their job, right? They're passionate about their goals or what they're training for, what they're building, what have you, right? Simply, you can even go into having conversations with people that you normally don't have conversations with and just kind of get into what are their habits? What are their passions? What are their hobbies? You see, because with their passions and hobbies, you will never get something negative from that conversation, right? That conversation of passion and hobbies is always grounded in positivity, is always grounded in desire and taking action and enjoying what it is that they're doing. So when you get into shifting and creating an environment for yourself to actually make it easier, right, for yourself to actually create the thing that you desire and even just simply think in terms of positivity, then your environment is key. Okay. Now, as you get into creating the environment, right, and learning how to sustain this positivity, one of the most important things that you have to do is celebrate the small wins. Celebrate when you actually have made progress. Celebrate if you have actually gone the entire day being mindful about everything that happens, being in a space where you can recognize when you felt negative thinking creeping up and you checked it and then you transform that or reframe that into a positive thinking or a positive, opportunity. So make sure that you are celebrating your wins, right? So even if it is taking a moment to meditate for 5 minutes, celebrate that win. If it is cleaning your room, making sure your room matches the frequency, the vibration, the vibe of that which you desire, celebrate that. Cleaning your car, putting notes on your car, making sure that all you listened to today in your car was a positive audiobook, right? Positive affirmations, celebrate that win. Making sure that when you communicate to individuals today, you are mindful about what it is that they're sharing with you and what you're sharing with them. Because you may have a relationship that was once grounded on venting to one another, complaining to one another about things and other people. And now that relationship has to change. So either that relationship is severed, which I think is the last resort, but you can begin to transform that relationship and just say, listen, I'm really in appreciation of who you are in our relationship, but I want to start something different. I want us to start talking about what we're grateful for instead of what we're ungrateful for, what we're complaining about, what we're unhappy with. So you have to be mindful about that. And sometimes people are going to be resistant and they may even judge you. That's okay. Just slowly distance yourself from that person. Recognize when they're saying something negative that isn't in support of what it is that you're creating, and just simply build and create new relationships. But it's important for you to cultivate an all around environment for you to actually make positive thinking not so much a challenge, but something that is simple and easy and just a part of your reality. You see, this is about coming into living as a conscious creator, creating the universe you desire. In order to do that, it starts with your mind, taking full accountability, responsibility over your thoughts, over your emotions, recognizing that your emotions also fuel your actions. So if you take responsibility and you start to shift, right, shift thinking about things negatively into opportunities, thinking about things positively, right, then your emotions are going to feel good. You're going to have good, positive emotions, And then those emotions will actually support you in taking positive action, being proactive about your life, and thus creating the life you want. Then you have to cultivate your environment, right? Cultivate your space. Wherever space you are, cultivate a space, a beautiful environment of positivity. If you are at a space for an extended period of time, every single day on a regular basis, make sure that that space supports you in every way possible toward you aligning with positivity. Make sure that the people you're engaged with, interacting with, right, your family, your friends, your spouse, your partner, make sure that they are in alignment with that desire to be positive, thus to create the things that you desire. Okay. So your environment is very important. You sustaining this positive mindset is imperative because, yes, you can know all the techniques, you can practice and you can figure it all out. You can do the reframing, right? You can do the meditations, you can do the, have the ability to transform and understand these triggers that have caused you to continuously have negative thinking, right? And you can understand, okay, this is why I tend to think negative, or I used to tend to think negative. Now I'm at a different place, but you have to sustain that. And that is the practice. So in order to sustain that, these are the things that you should do. And it will make life not only easier and simpler for you, but it would also begin to build a momentum where these things are not just simply supporting you and sustaining a positive mentality, but they eventually will begin to implement and create more opportunities of positivity, which will reinforce the positivity that you have already created and understood within yourself. You see, because when you start to think about being mindful about, say, your relationships, your interactions, your exchanges with people, and you are mindful and you're curious and you start to exchange with other individuals and you start to find people who have a higher frequency of thinking, who think positively, who think in terms of opportunity, success, happiness, doing what excites them, doing what they're passionate about, or even discovering new passions. Those people are going to help and support you. Those people are going to take you to another level. And everything that you do in support of you simply just sustaining your positive mentality will eventually become the things that will lift you up, right? They won't just simply be a tool to sustain, they will become assets. They will become tools to actually reinforce, to actually help you and push you forward in the momentum of turning your negative thinking into positive thinking and having a positive mindset. The journey is about you recognizing that you are a creator. The journey is about recognizing that your job here isn't to just be focused on making other people happy. Your job here is to focus on making sure you are happy, making sure you are fulfilled. When you do that first, that will extend itself out to everybody else, everything else. It starts within. And when you are complete, happy, and positive within, then everything else will express itself towards you in a way that aligns with your desires. Thank you so much. Feel free to go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and get access to this free ebook. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.